When I was 12, my dad told me I'd never amount to anything. I just bought his childhood home at auction, and I'm calling him tonight. I was sitting in the lawyer's office, staring at the deed with my name on it, when I realized I was about to make the phone call I'd been rehearsing in my head for 23 years. My name is James, and this is the story of how my father's cruelest words became my greatest motivation. I was 12 years old when Dad said it. I remember the exact moment, standing in our kitchen on a Saturday morning, telling him about my science fair project. I'd stayed up for weeks building a working model of a wind turbine. I was excited, nervous, desperate for his approval. He looked at it for maybe 10 seconds before he laughed. Not a kind laugh, a sharp, dismissive one. "That's garbage, James," he said, walking past me to the fridge. "You know what? You're never going to amount to anything. You're too soft, too sensitive, too much of a dreamer. You'll end up working at some dead-end job, probably broke, wondering why you never listened to me." I was 12. I didn't have the vocabulary to process that kind of cruelty from the person I loved most. I just knew it hurt in a way that made my chest feel tight. My mom found me crying in my room an hour later. She held me and told me Dad was struggling, that his words didn't define me, that he was wrong. But something shifted in me that day. I stopped showing him my achievements. I stopped asking for his approval. Instead, I started proving him wrong, quietly, methodically, without ever telling him what I was doing. I threw myself into school, got a scholarship, worked through college, then grad school, studied finance, real estate, entrepreneurship, anything that would build something stable and real. I started small, flipping houses in my 20s, building a portfolio, taking calculated risks. By 30, I had my first significant success. By 35, I'd built a legitimate real estate empire. Dad never knew any of it. We had a surface-level relationship, birthday calls, obligatory dinners where we talked about the weather. He'd moved back to his small hometown in Ohio, remarried to a woman named Patricia, living in a modest house on the edge of town. He'd become quieter over the years, less explosive, but no less distant. 6 months ago, I got a call from a real estate contact. His childhood home, the house where my grandparents had raised him, the house he'd mentioned maybe a dozen times in my life, was going to foreclosure auction. The elderly owner had passed away, left no heirs, and the property had become a tax liability. I drove out to see it on a Friday afternoon. It was a 1970s brick colonial, sitting on 3 acres with a barn in the back, overgrown gardens, and enormous oak trees. It was beautiful in that neglected way old houses are, full of potential, full of stories, full of heartbreak. I bought it at auction the following week. I've spent the last 5 months restoring it, not to flip it, but to actually restore it, to bring it back to what it must have been when my father was a boy, when his parents loved him there. New roof, restored hardwood floors, the barn converted into a guest house, gardens replanted, every decision made with intention. Tonight, I'm calling him. I dial his number at 7 p.m., my hands shaking like I'm 12 again. "James, that you?" His voice is older now, more fragile. "Yeah, Dad, I'm calling because I wanted to tell you something. I bought your childhood home, the one in Ohio. I've spent the last few months restoring it, and I wanted you to know that I'm planning to spend time there. I thought maybe you'd want to visit sometime. See what it looks like now." There's a long silence. I can hear him breathing. You bought my house?" His voice cracks slightly. "Yeah, I did." Another silence. Longer this time. "James, He stops. Starts again. "That was a beautiful thing to do." We don't talk about that day in the kitchen. We don't talk about the words that haunted me for 2 decades. But I think he knows. I think maybe he's always known. That house isn't about proving him wrong anymore. It's about proving something to myself. That his cruelty didn't define my future. That I could take pain and transform it into something real and beautiful. And maybe, just maybe, it's about giving him a chance to see the man I became. Not because I was trying to prove him wrong, but because I was determined to become the man I knew I could be. That makes all the difference.